started. Welcome everyone to Mastermind Book Club. Thank you all for making it here. We have had a wild of a ride this weekend, but the good news is because everyone's listening to it, that the coronavirus is being contained. So, in reference to stock market news, it means I should not be investing in those type of stocks. In reference to the world, we shouldn't be worrying too much about the virus. It is a virus that can affect people, yes, I won't kid you. And there are people who are wearing masks. Are the masks 100%? Well, I don't think the mask will hurt, but I'm not wearing a mask, and I'd say most of the world is not wearing a mask, and that's people who are very much afraid of getting ill. You're not necessarily going to get ill by wearing, you're not going to get protected by wearing a mask, but it helps. So why am I talking about this? Because today's book is about making your bed. And some people have decided to wear a mask as part of making their own bed. Now, why have they decided this? Because they're free to choose whatever they want to choose, right? No one's stopping them. Is somebody stopping you from doing what you want to do? As crazy as it may be? I hope not. Because if people are stopping you, then maybe you should consider whether those are true friends or not. So some facts about this book is that Admiral William H. McRaven is the author of this book. And this book was inspired by a speech he gave to the graduating class at the University of Texas in Austin. It is McRaven. In it, McRaven shares 10 lessons he learned from Navy SEAL training. They are simple lessons that deal with overcoming the trials of SEAL training. But the 10 lessons are equally important in dealing with the challenges of life, no matter who you are. Now, I'd like to ask you, what do you believe is the most important lesson you learned from listening to this audiobook, if you had a chance to listen to it? Anyone want to comment in? Is there anything that you picked up that you thought was really important in this book? Anyone?
I can't remember the exact wordings, but it was never underestimate or never judge people by the size of their flippers.
Awesome. Very good. Dennis, you hit the buzzer right on the nose, because the biggest winners, according to Admiral William McRaven's story, are the little men that came from different parts of the world who were put down by all the other teams and, just having fun among the Navy SEAL people. The biggest winners were the smallest ones, the ones who have the smallest flippers. So never judge a book by its cover. I'm certain you've heard of that. Now, one story comes to mind. I don't know if you've ever heard of this story. Do you know why the frog is the king of the forest? Does anyone know why? Obviously, the Navy SEAL are called frogmen. So if you don't know why, stay tuned, because after the 10 most important lessons that you learn in this book, I'm going to tell you quickly why the frog is considered the king of the forest. Hold on, let me just move this line. There we go. All right. So start your day with a task completed. Now, this book says make your bed. There are some people who are against making their own beds. That's fine. You don't have to be all negative and get all flustered that, why does this guy tell you to make your own bed? Why? Because that was his way of starting out his day. That was his way of completing a task. Your task could be different. It could be through prayer. It could be, I don't know, I'm doing a daily inspiration. It could be calling someone. So whatever it is, complete. your first task of the day. Number 2, you can't go at it alone. Without each and every one of you on this call, this would not be possible. How much more do I need to emphasize how important it is to have 1 or 2 people that you can work with to acquire whatever it is that you want? Teamwork is very important. And it's not about that we have the same goal, but it's about we're working on the same path to get to our different goals, whatever they may be. Number 3, only the size of your heart matters. So some people, in reference to the Navy SEAL, like to think of themselves as number 1. Others like to put other people ahead of themselves. So it's up to you. I mean, I'm not here to judge you. If you think that you can make it out in life on your own, that's fine. But what happens if you help others accomplish their goals? What happens if you help them acquire whatever it is that they want in life before you get your objective in life? Believe it or not, that matters, because you'll get it back multiplied. I'm certain you've heard of that. Life's not fair, number 4. So continue driving forward. Why isn't life fair? Because we're going to be met with a lot of challenges. We're not always going to have what we want. We're not going to always get the easy things, the necessities, just because we want them. Number 5, failure can make you stronger. Obviously, you're going to fail. I've spoken to a few of you on this call, and I know I've had failure, and I know you've had failure. But we've looked at it in another way. Failure needs to happen in order for you to appreciate your objectives. Number 6, you must dare greatly. Meaning, don't get too comfortable in whatever position you are. You have to be able to take a risk in certain circumstances. In this book, it tells you specifically the circumstances that you have to dare, which are what? Facing your fears. That's how you dare. Stand up to the bullies. What are the bullies? In this story, facing your fears, standing up to the bully is the shark in the ocean. The bully could be your neighbors, your friends, your peers, those who don't want to see you working too hard. Why are you working so hard? Relax, take it easy. Come join us. Don't worry about it. I'm certain you've heard that. Number 8, rise to the occasion. Now, I like to relate one person who's on this call a lot to this rise to the occasion, and that is Dennis. Dennis constantly challenges me, and he helps me to grow, and he grows. But each and every one of you does the same thing if you're not aware of it. When I've spoken to Angela, when I've been on Angela's call in her group, she challenges people to rise to the occasion in their salary negotiations. Most people don't want to negotiate their salary. They're just happy with what they receive. That's why you're getting what you have, because you're not willing to negotiate. Sharon Fent, who is going to be jumping off this call, has challenged people as a nurse. She's an experienced nurse. I think she's been on the field for close to 40 years now, if I'm not mistaken. Now, obviously, she knows a thing or two about being a nurse, things that most new nurses will never learn. And she has risen above, helping a group of people within her call to get healthier and get ahead in life. Number 9, give people hope. What is life without hope? What is life without the belief that something better will arise? We've all been there. We've wanted to give up. We've all had those negative feelings, negative desires of saying, that's it, I want to just quit. I don't want to keep going. Don't give up. Why? Because if you give up, that's when you have just missed out on reaching the opportunity that you were meant to reach. Never quit. I know that some of these sound very redundant, and that's because a lot of us need to hear it, all right? If you quit on whatever it is that you want, make certain that the next thing that you're doing, you're going to continue it until the end. Because if you're always quitting your task and you're not allowing it enough time to pursue it, then how do you know you're ever going to make it? So William McRaven has a very important task to be learned in this book. If you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. And that's plain and simple. But the reality is, are you doing it every day? Because you could do it today, but how about tomorrow? So the more you make your bed, it's setting up the habit for your life so that you can pursue possibilities. Now, why is the frog the king of the forest? So there's this simple story that I was told. Now, the frogs were bored one day and they didn't know what to do. So they challenged themselves to say, well, why don't we have a king so that the king can tell us what to do? So the frogs said, whoever makes it to the top of the mountain can become king of the forest. What happened next? Well, all the frogs lined up and started to run up the mountain. But what happened? All the other animals were telling the frogs, stop, you can't make it up the mountain. This is not for you. You're supposed to be in the water in a pond. So a lot of frogs stopped. And then some frogs kept going. And as they kept going further, other frogs told them, that's it, I can't make it. Why are you going any further? Stop with me. And they started listening. But there was this one specific frog who kept going despite all these negative attitudes. And when he got to the top, he was asked, why didn't you give up like everyone else? And he responded, nothing. Then he was asked by all his peers, why did you give up? And he didn't respond to anything. The reason that this frog didn't give up is because he was deaf. He couldn't listen. Meaning, the moral of the story is that all the negative antics that people will tell you to give up, to stop doing what you're doing, to get off the path, you don't have to listen. You do not have to listen. Make your bed. Do what you have to do to get ahead. And don't worry about everybody else. And I know that you have dozens of other things to do instead of getting on this call. But I'll tell you this, if I keep these calls plain and simple so that you're learning one thing in every call, if you learn one thing, then this call is worth it. You are king of your forest as long as you don't listen to the negative talk to get off the path. Are you listening to that talk? If you're listening to it, what are you gaining from it? What are you hoping to achieve from these negative antics that are being told for you to give up? Most people will listen. Be like the frog, the king frog who was deaf to all these negative attacks on him. Now I'd like to open up the mics because this is a plain and simple book, very easy to read, very simple story. And just like Dennis said, about the small flippers, that's the reality. Don't worry about the size of your flippers because the small flippers count as well. So does anyone want to comment on this book? Anyone?
Hey,
Hi.
I'll comment. Hey.
Ty. Yes.
This is Angela.
Oh, Angela. Oops. Sorry. Hi, Angela.
Hi. I thought that the idea behind the basis for the book was great because it seemed like, what he was saying is that it's the small things that really matter, and that when you're trying to be successful, like, the Bible says it's the small foxes that spoil the vine. So it seemed like the whole point was that, just um, be cognizant of it's those little things that may be keeping you, those little habits, those little things that may be keeping you from going where it is that you're trying to go.
Correct, correct. Thank you, Angela. And that is the truth, is the little habits that if you don't implement them, they're going to hinder you from getting to where you need to be headed. So that is the truth. And that's why each and every one here has an expertise. And I didn't mention Reggie. Reggie has an expertise in the stock market. He works for Bloomberg. And Dennis has an expertise. He is an EMT specialist for, I think, 30 plus years, right, Dennis? I don't know if you can comment on it or not. And Reggie as well is an expert. But are these done overnight? Is each of your expertise done overnight? Angela has been catering to assisting people in having a better opportunity at their workforce. Most people don't. Not even in the military where Angela is from. Is that right, Angela?
Yeah, that's correct. Mm-hmm.
Now, how have you made your bed as a metaphor in reference to recruitment or in reference to salary negotiation? How have you assisted others?
Well, I think that the making my bed portion is the fact that I make sure that I get up, number one, early enough in the morning to have some quiet time, just to kind of meditate on the day ahead. Like he was saying, start out the day as you're already won the day. And so I like to get up early and have that time to meditate, to do my affirmations, to focus on positive things. And so that when I go out and I begin to interact with people, I've already got the mindset that, hey, I'm here to help you. I have the answers, to those job issues, and I can help you win.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela. And if anyone wants more info on her salary negotiation class, just hit me up and I can send you the information. I know that you need to be a member in order to get in, but it is well worth it. So thank you, Angela. Anybody else want to comment? Elmer. Welcome to the call, Elmer.
Well, looking over the list of 10, it really comes down to those simple daily basics of your routine. My dad, for years, was always on me about what's your plan for today? What's your plan for today? What's your plan for today? And if you don't have a plan, somebody has a plan for you. And the book, he talks about start one thing every day consistently. And he puts it as, making your bed, so that even if you had a bad day, you can come back and at least know that your bed was made. So you have to start your day with one thing you can accomplish, and it sets your mindset for the day. And the one I pointed out before was, not judging. But I'm also learning, especially recently, that what are you offering for other people that you're not telling yourself, that if you told yourself the same advice and acted on it, that you're trying to get other people to follow, how much better would your life be? And putting that mirror up on judging and looking at situations, oh, that guy cut me off, or, my boss is like this, or this is like that. Those are outside expectations and judgments. But when you look at yourself and go, where am I judging myself on what I could or should or will or not doing in terms of my actions? So knowing your routine, knowing your day. And it's starting your day on a positive note by completing something, a simple task of just one thing. And when you go through your day, it's just that next one thing that you're going to challenge, that you're not going to back down from. You're going to punch the shark in the nose. You're going to stand your ground. You're going to not judge other people based on what you think their limitations are, or judge yourself based on what your limitation you think is, because your limitation could actually be the strength that you're trying to avoid because you didn't want to face it. Early on when I was younger, they kept on putting me through tests for all different types of learning disabilities, because I would sit through class like I'm goofing around, but I'd always ace exams and get stuff done. They were like, "How are you doing this?" I don't know. I'm just paying attention. But they were like, "Oh, you've got dyslexia. You can't read right. You got ADD. You got all these different letters they're throwing at me." And I'm like, I don't get it. If I'm getting good grades, what is it? What are you coming down on me for if I'm making the grade? My fortitude, my ability to push through and learn things was coming so fast at me. The one thing I probably didn't get tested for was being autistic. But really what it comes down to is you have the ability to be autistic, and you wake up in a different mind, and all the options are open in front of you. You can cry about yesterday. You can be upset about what you're thinking about coming up today. But if you open your mind to being open to possibilities by first doing at least one small mini task that starts your day on a successful completion mindset, the rest of the day is a breeze, no matter what happens. And so this book is very important in terms of setting your mind for the success mindset of committing to the task at hand and not judging others based on their limitations, but also pushing past where your limitations you think you have, so that you can be king of the forest or the jungle or the beach or wherever you like.
That's right. I wish I could have the beach, but can't. Thank you, Dennis. That's very insightful, and Angela as well. The reality is sometimes we focus on way too much that we haven't even focused on that one thing that we should be getting done. And I just spoke to a family member today who told me, "I have way too many things. I have to cut things down." I said, "Congratulations. That's very good. Most people can't do that. They like to keep multitasking." So in reality is that you have to fit life according to you, not according to everybody else, and not according to pleasing everyone else. So make your bed, to me, is if you have to meditate in order to get ahead this day, then meditate. If you have to do a prayer in the morning in order to make your bed, metaphor, do it, whatever it is. But most of us are losing out there because we're unable to do that same task every day, that same habit. And there's nothing better and more powerful than making your bed in some format or meditating in some format. That's really, really powerful. I agree with Angela in that meditation in the morning, as simple as it may seem, visualizing yourself achieving whatever it is you want to achieve is powerful. I believe in it. So thank you for sharing that. And Dennis, he brings quite nuggets of information here that allow us to not only change ourselves, but change the world, because you don't have to change millions and millions of people to change the world. You just have to change one person. That's all you have to do. Change yourself or change someone else. But if you change yourself, I guarantee that somebody else will be more willing to change themselves. Plain and simple. Anyone else want to comment on this book?
Hey, Dave, doesn't he mention that in the book? Because he's talking to the students and he goes, if you want to change the world, make your bed. think that's how it starts, right?
That's how it starts. Yep. I think I didn't I say that at the beginning? Maybe
Because
I
you're leading,
cut it off.
yeah,
Let's see.
leading by example.
Yes, that's correct. And you know that the challenges in life are not going to go away. So just be aware of it. Just deal with them. Make the bed. Make it. I mean, one last thing I want to leave you with: Admiral William McRaven. He went through a lot. Through a lot. I believe he broke his legs because he had a parachute failure because somebody else jumped right over him on a, you know, as they were parachuting down, and he could have given up in life. So that is very important in this story as well, is that we're all going to experience some type of negativity. I hope it's not a broken leg, because that can scare anyone and that can limit anyone. So we are all given challenges according to whatever it is that we're facing. If there is anything that you can leave with from this book, it's about embrace the challenge. How? By changing yourself, by not giving up too quickly without having a second look at the possibility of succeeding in whatever it is that you're doing. And that's plain and simple. Navy SEALs, they are a team, they are a family. And remember, you can have a team, you can have a family that can help you acquire your goals. Where do you find it? Right here in the Mastermind Book Club. Need I say anything else? So that's it for this class for today. And I'd like to thank you, Dennis, Angela, Sharon, Reggie, Elmer, and I believe Ty is on the call. Everyone else, thank you very much for making it on this call. Let me just see if Tawana wants to say anything. I just unmuted you, Tawana, just in case you're trying to say anything.
Hi, David. Hi, everyone. That book was crazy. I almost threw it down because it was kind of disgusting. It, like when he was talking about how his body was falling apart when he jumped out of the plane, and oh my goodness, I almost threw the book down. But I followed through and I finished it. But it was interesting, though, you know, to stick to your guns and to make up your bed, because that's the start to, you know, making up everything else. You know what I mean?
Correct, correct. So thank you, Tawana, and thank you, everyone, for making this book very powerful. And I'd like to let you know that if you ever have a book that you want to recommend, I know Angela just recommended a book. I'm going to look at it tonight, and hopefully we can listen to it in the next week or two. And yeah, so just let me know. Send it to me privately, and we'll look at it. Thank you, Sharon. Sharon has another call, so she has to get going. And Tawana, you as well. Let me know whatever books you like.
It's a really great one, but I'll let you know on a private call, because that one is really interesting. And it's long, though, but it's definitely, I mean, it's definitely something to pay attention to.
Well, I have some books that are longer, but I try to pick some of the books that are shorter, so that way, if you can get easy listening to the shorter ones, when the longer ones come around, they'll be easier listening as well, because you're developing your listening skills by listening to these audios. We weren't told this as we were growing up, so let's keep working on it, because it's very important, building our listening skills. Everyone, I just want to let you know, Elmer has a new addition to the family. Before he gets off this call, he has a new baby. He has a new Elmer in the family. Just congratulate him if you get a chance.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations, Elmer.
All right, Elmer.
Good luck.
All right, everyone. Take care and have a blessed week. This week, I don't know if we're going to have class Thursday. I'm going to decide later today. I'm going to talk to Dennis and another person and see what we can come up with. All right? Take care.
Awesome.
Have a blessed one.
Have a blessed night, everyone.
And everyone, make your bed. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good night.